It's my honor to introduce Dr. Robbins Barstow.
Good morning. The answer to the question, is there life after Kingswood, Oxford, is emphatically yes. And I'm happy to have the opportunity to expound on this to you today. Because in large part, due to Kingswood, Oxford, that life can be wonderfully abundant. I'm now 76 years old, and I'm an exceedingly fortunate person. I'm here for my 60th reunion. In fact, I graduated from Kingswood before you students' parents were born. I've been blessed with basically robust health. I've had prostate cancer, and I have to wear hearing aids and glasses and artificial teeth, but I'm alive, well, and still going strong. And it's my aim to enjoy being active as long as I possibly can. I count each day as a gift from God that I look forward with anticipation to unwrapping. A year and a half ago, I gave a eulogy at the funeral of one of my Kingswood 1936 classmates, Jack Ritter, who had died of a brain tumor. And I couldn't help asking myself, why am I a survivor? Rodgers and Hammerstein, in a song from the musical South Pacific, gave one response. Who can explain it? Who can tell you why? Fools give you reasons. Wise men never try. So I don't try to explain my good fortune. I've concluded simply that it's not a sin to be fortunate, but it is a sin not to make the most of it. So let's go right to my theme, the pursuit of happiness. That's what I think life is all about. Sadly, the overwhelming majority of the human inhabitants of our planet today have little time for pursuing happiness. All their energies are still consumed with the struggle just to stay alive. But we, fortunate few, can devote ourselves to pursuing happiness for ourselves and for those others. What does happiness mean to you? Of course, it includes lots of activities that are fun and pleasurable, but I don't mean just hedonism or harmful pleasure. True happiness involves satisfying challenges and accomplishments, and at its heart is love. I was already engaged in this pursuit of happiness in a preliminary way when I was a student here at Kingswood 60 years ago. You may have seen my name, R.W. Barstow, Jr., up on the walls over in Severn Hall. I was editor of the Wyvern and a few other things. But you know, the most fun I had when I was an undergraduate here, I've always loved movies. And I organized the Kingswood Movie Club with myself as president and another student as vice president. And then I went to the managers of the theaters down in Hartford, and I got them to let me in free to see all the movies I wanted, just as long as I wrote a review for the Kingswood News. Well, after Kingswood, I continued my happiness pursuit at Dartmouth College, where I majored in English and philosophy. But then, I want you to know, I spent 10, sometimes desperate years searching for my career niche. I failed as a public school classroom teacher, but finally, in 1950, I did find what turned out to be just the right job for my particular capabilities, working for the Connecticut Education Association, the state teachers' professional organization. I served as Director of Field Services and Professional Development for them for 34 challenging and satisfying years. Now, before speaking about that professional career, however, I must refer to another underlying ingredient of human happiness: love. I am particularly fortunate to have had a continuing love affair with a beautiful woman for 55 years. We've only been married for 53 years. But we have a saying in our hometown of Wethersfield that happiness is knowing Meg Barstow, my wife. And it's because of the love that she radiates. She's my summa bona. Our three children all have fulfilling careers of their own now, and we have four great joy-producing grandchildren. With this as a foundation, I'd like now to look briefly at my paid career and then at two unpaid avocational activities in the light of John F. Kennedy's definition of happiness. He defined it as the full use of your powers along lines of excellence in a position affording scope. Well, I substantially found such happiness in my long-term professional job working for education and Connecticut's teachers. My work was on the cutting edge, fighting to improve the lot of public school teachers in Connecticut and the nation. I had a hand in writing and securing the passage of over 50 laws affecting education here in our state legislature. We pioneered in fighting for women's rights, for civil rights, for minorities, for student rights. You know, there's another element, too, of happiness. Supreme Court Justice Holmes once declared, one must be part of the passion of one's time, lest it be said one did not live. Well, for more than 5 decades, both within and without the Connecticut Education Association, I've had the privilege of being part of the passions of our time, speaking and writing and marching and rallying and politicking for peace, for freedom, for equality, for justice. I've been a lifelong idealist and a pragmatic activist. Through the CEA, we established a statewide Human Relations and Minority Affairs Commission. We did such things as publish a report exposing and condemning book censorship in the Ridgefield, Connecticut school system. We developed a hard-hitting curriculum exposing and attacking the KKK in Connecticut, violence, the Ku Klux Klan, and the struggle for equality. Well, those are just a few examples of what made my professional career so challenging and satisfying until I retired from gainful employment in 1984, 12 years ago. Now, overlapping this career have been two major avocational interests. There's another maxim which I've tried to bear in mind for many years. Robert Ingersoll made this assertion. Think about this now. The time to be happy is now. The place to be happy is here. Not tomorrow, but now, right here. And then more recently, I've become acquainted with the writings of Joseph Campbell and his mandate to follow your bliss. That's one clear key to happiness and success. Do what you like doing. And I have. Some 20 years ago, I became greatly interested in whales and the Save the Whale movement. With a small group of friends, I helped organize an all-volunteer Connecticut Cetacean Society. We got the state legislature to make the sperm whale the official state animal. Then in 1976, we constructed, with 5,000 hours of volunteer labor, the giant life-size ferro-cement model of an adult male sperm whale, which stands outside the Science Museum just down the road here. How many of you have seen that? How many of you have been inside it? Okay, well, we built that as volunteers over a whole year, and it was tremendous. Now, at that time when we started, over 40,000 great whales were being slaughtered every year by international agreement, including 23,000 sperm whales. We got heavily involved in lobbying on behalf of whales in the U.S. Congress and internationally at the United Nations. And finally, after more than 10 years working with Greenpeace and many other groups, we did succeed in getting the International Whaling Commission in 1986 to ban all commercial whale killing around the world. That ban is still in effect, even though Japan and Norway have not yet fully abided by it. But this effort gave me the gratifying opportunity, strictly as a volunteer, to play a leading role in global anti-whaling efforts and to travel to international meetings literally around the world, seeking to bring about peace between humans and cetaceans. It was a cause that we greatly believed in. I even wrote a small book entitled Meet the Great Whales. It's an introduction to the marvels of cetaceans. And a copy is here in your KO library, if you're any of you interested in looking at it. You might be sometime. Well, 2 years ago, I became Director Emeritus of the Cetacean Society, and now I'm mostly actively involved in another happiness-producing avocational outlet. I'm Vice President of Wethersfield Community Television. And I spend almost all of my free time today following my bliss in producing, filming, editing, narrating, and broadcasting over our local public access channel a wide variety of documentary videos of town activities, our family's travels, art, music, history, church, and school programs. I even have my own Robbins Barstow's Monday night prime time special program in Wethersfield with a weekly presentation for which I'm responsible and which I greatly enjoy. Well, in conclusion, I wouldn't want you to think that we have never suffered from what Shakespeare called the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Bad things do happen. But as our Linkletter has said, life turns out best for those who make the best of the way life turns out. So that's how we've been pursuing continually happiness now, making the best of things. If you encounter a roadblock, find a better route. And more than anything else, the bottom line for happiness is love. Not money, not fame, but love. One of my favorite movie lines comes from an old Douglas Fairbanks movie, Don Q, the son of Zorro. His friend looks out a balcony window and says to Fairbanks, "Don Q, it's a beautiful day." And Fairbanks turns to him and he says, "Ronaldo, it's a beautiful life." So with that, I wish that all of you may also live long and prosper with love, peace, and joy.